Okay, it's Friday, December 12th, let's talk PlayStation. So earlier this week it was leaked on the Square Enix website and then later confirmed by Square Enix themselves that Final Fantasy X and X-2 Remaster is coming to PlayStation 4. Coming spring 2015, we have no idea, no details on the fact of if cross-save will work with the PS3 and Vita versions. We don't know if this is a separate trophy list or if it's going to share the same trophies with PS3 and Vita. No clue. Now, despite the fact that a lot of people can be pretty pessimistic about Square Enix or the fact that there's more ports and remasters coming to PS4, I honestly don't care because more games are games, but I'm sure you're all well aware of the fact that I am enjoying this news very well because I love Final Fantasy X and X-2, so I hope it's a separate trophy list because I will absolutely play these games again to both platinums, 500 plus hours. Dude, sign me up. I'm pumped. So during the whole PlayStation Experience thing and just general news flow, Sony secretly released some custom PlayStation 4 faceplates on the Sony store that you can buy. They're $25 each, I think. There's the Order 1886, and then there's Little Big Planet 3, which is pretty cool. I mean, you have to remember this from 2005 when Microsoft was doing this with Xbox 360, and a lot of people actually didn't like them that much, and they really kind of were phased out because people weren't buying them, and it just wasn't really, I guess it just was not a thing that caught on really, but that's a thing now, so you can go buy these. There's actually also, I saw a news story about in Japan, some retailers selling these transparent faceplates, so you can see kind of the PS4's HDD. But yeah, PS4 faceplates, I guess they're a thing now. It's kind of surprising that they didn't do this sooner because we all knew when the PS4 launched you could remove that faceplate and put a new one there if you wanted to. So, but I would have to imagine companies did custom faceplates or something. But you know, there's also vinyl skins you can buy for your consoles or what have you. I've never really been too into that, but you can do it now. So I'm sure you're all pretty well aware of this one. If you have a PlayStation 4, chances are you know the fact that you actually don't get notifications for when friends come online like you do on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation Vita. It'll say, hey, so-and-so logged in, so-and-so logged out. This actually isn't on PS4, but now it might be coming soon if that is the case with a certain video that Sony released. All the time Sony will release promotional videos just showing, you know, the console and advertising it and showing games and stuff. Well, a new little trailer that they uploaded showing the console and games and stuff actually shows that notification being used in the video, so it kind of tells us that this is probably going to come soon in a future firmware update. Now, technically speaking, this isn't confirmed, and we don't know if there's a firmware update coming soon, or if it's coming later, or if this actually is going to come in a firmware update, but it's kind of obvious that if they have it in promotional material, that it will probably come at some point, so it'll finally come. Alright, let's talk about Driveclub for a little bit. Sony's UK boss for Gara discussed the fact that the Sony team and Evolution Studios in particular are pretty much embarrassed by the launch of Driveclub, which is understandable because we all know Driveclub had an absolutely terrible launch. So, and it doesn't have the PlayStation Plus edition of the game out that we were all promised last month, which is, again, pretty disappointing. But Sony said that they are more or less disappointed, and so is Evolution Studios. And you know, it's easy to be angry about this. It's totally easy to be that angry internet guy behind the computer typing some long comment and being a super huge dickhead. And that's fine. Totally kind of justifiable in this situation because the game did have a really piss poor launch, and if you paid $60 for this game, you couldn't play it online and you were just having trouble even trying to get the value out of the game. So it's understandable, but I always look at these from a developer standpoint, and if I was at Evolution Studios right now, I would just have to imagine, you know, all those hardworking people thinking to themselves gosh, damn, we really screwed this up big time, you know. These are people that are working 40, 60-hour weeks, pouring their heart and soul into this game. I mean, that's the thing. If you're in this industry, I know you work hard to be in it. And you do care about the games you're putting out because to be a developer, you have to like games to begin with. You know, it's not like where you're a fast food worker and you just don't want to be there because making fast food sucks. People enjoy what they're doing, so I can understand how they possibly feel about this. They probably feel pretty crappy. Hopefully they'll get some situations sorted out soon. Hopefully Evolution's still okay. Some people are talking about the fact that Sony might close Evolution Studios. I really hope they don't, and I doubt that's going to happen actually, because Driveclub did sell somewhat well, and it's still on the market, it's still being sold. The weather patch just came out, so the game is looking incredible with those weather physics. Hopefully they get the Plus edition up soon at some point. Maybe that'll convince more people to buy the game, give it a look and see that, you know, maybe it's really good and they'll enjoy it. but it did have a pretty terrible launch. That is for sure. So here's a pretty funny news story, and I'll give you guys a little bit of story time. So the 20th anniversary edition PlayStation 4 is being sold everywhere now. We in America had our little like raffle thing, which was you know, if you were at the PS Experience event, you could buy it, and you could buy it online on Sony Store when they just made the pre-order page live. I know that it also went on sale in UK, PAL territories, something like that. There was a pop-up shop in London, I think. Don't quote me on that, but they are getting sold everywhere now. And the news story is that these things on eBay, they're going for a lot on eBay, like $15,000 for one of them. I think another one sold for around $20,000. That's a pretty big investment if you just bought it for $500 and then are reselling it for that much back. That's a pretty damn good sell, and good God, if I had gotten my hands on one, Jesus Christ, I probably would have put it up, to be honest. I'm like, that's a lot of money, at least for me. So, well, the one thing is, clearly I didn't get one. The funny thing is, I was at work, and, you know, Sony was tweeting, like, hey, we're gonna put the link up soon for you guys to buy it. And I was like reading it, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna go back to work soon, because I was actually on break. But then I got another break at work, so when I was on break, I checked the Twitter, and they were like, oh, the pre-order page is live, and it was like 5 minutes ago that they tweeted it, so I was like, holy shit, I might be able to get this thing. So I clicked it on a work computer, and it's taken forever. It's loading. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, please, like, come on, like, don't do this to me. It did it to me. It would not load in time for me. I had to go back to work, and by the time I had another break, I get a lot of breaks at my my new job, but by the time I had another break, I checked it, and I was crap out of luck. So I was unfortunate I didn't get one. So hopefully, did anybody else get one? Like, please let me know. That'd be pretty cool. All right, let's talk about China for a little bit. We don't often do this ever, I think, but if you've been following this news story for a while, China has had a ban on consoles for like 14 years, and they finally recently lifted that ban a few months back. So the console manufacturers are definitely taking advantage of this. Microsoft launched the Xbox One in China in September, I believe, and now it's Sony's turn. So Sony's going to be releasing the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita January 11th in China. And the news story about this is that it's a big market. China's a pretty big untapped market. They have not had video games there for a very long time. So this could be a good opportunity for Sony, at least from a business standpoint. Like, hey, release those damn things there. Get publishers and developers to start releasing content for them down there. Get everything working, do some marketing, man. Like, you can sell a lot of those machines and possibly increase your market share. It's just like a no-brainer, really. Okay, time to talk about some sales. I don't like talking about these too often, because when you talk about it too often, it just seems so redundant and stupid, and it really like fuels the console wars and everything. And I always like to touch on numbers every so often to really look at it from a business point of view. So let's look at it that way, because it is Let's Talk PlayStation. The big news story this past week, or well, really this happened, this was announced just yesterday, which is the NPD came out for North America, and the Xbox One outsold the PlayStation 4 for the month of November. And that's the first time Microsoft has done that in 10 months. Sony has had a 10-month lead in North America in terms of sales. Microsoft has finally outsold the PlayStation 4, and by a pretty decent margin. Microsoft sold 1.2 million Xbox Ones. Sony sold around 800,000 PlayStation 4s. So Microsoft got a pretty decent chunk of extra systems on Sony there, and that's finally a situation where that's catch-up. They have made more, they've sold more consoles, so they're catching up to Sony's numbers in North America. And we all know Microsoft traditionally has been very strong in North America. They sold, like, good lord, 40 million Xbox 360s there, and Sony's like roughly like 20 million or something last time I checked for PlayStation 3s. That was definitely their territory last generation. They just do really well there, and Sony didn't do that well there with PlayStation 3. Different numbers with PlayStation 2, obviously, because that like just demolished everybody, but you see my point. So it seems like Microsoft's finally doing better. Now, granted, this took a lot from Microsoft. I mean, we all know they've been getting their ass handed to them for 10 months, and not just in America, everywhere. And that, of course, there's a number of reasons why. We all know why. The Xbox One had a terrible launch, $500, forcing everyone to use the camera, had that bad PR with the DRM, and your camera's watching you and everything. It was all around awful. It was, honestly, I'd consider it one of the worst console launches of all time. We all know why they did bad. But it took so many things for them to finally turn it around, which was make, you know, multiple price drops, taking the camera out of the box, to the point where the system's now $350 with like 2 free games. And that's like the holiday promotions that Microsoft was doing. Also keep in mind they put a lot of money into marketing, so that's a lot of commercials, a lot of internet advertisements, pretty much pushing it in your face. Xbox One, Xbox One, Xbox One. And Sony does not do nearly as much advertising as them, plus Sony was still $400. Yeah, there were sales for PS4, and sometimes you'd like get a free game or something, but like Microsoft was really, really damn aggressive this holiday season, and they still are because it's December, but you know, they're doing really well. It's to the point where we all knew that that $350 price tag right now is supposed to be limited time only. They're actually supposed to raise it back up to $400 in January, but at this point I would be shocked if they did that, because if they raised the price back up to $400, they are like, their sales are going to tank immediately, especially right after the holiday season, and then Sony will be right back where they are, which is selling more systems and increasing their market share. So but it's good to finally see them come back. You know, I'm not like the kind of person that enjoys watching them like not do well at all, especially because they're a close competitor to Sony. I want them to do really well, because that's going to make the console industry thrive. Despite what people think, like, oh, that doesn't help the business, or third-party exclusive doesn't help the business, or, you know, and understandable. I can see why people get pissed about that stuff. I can see why people get upset and they don't agree with it, but ultimately, I believe it does help the industry thrive and get healthy and, you know, keep consoles relevant. And that's the thing is, you know, for the past, how many months now, past like what, year and a half with PS4 and Xbox One, a lot of people are moving to PC, and that's cool and everything. A lot of people moving to mobile. A lot of people saying like, oh, consoles are dying. They're absolutely not dying, especially when the new figure right now is that PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, where they currently stand in terms of sales, are 80% higher than what they would be when the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 launched 13 months into their life cycle. So they're selling at a much faster rate, which more or less means like they're good, you know, they're healthy, they're doing fine. And the thing about that is a lot of people like to still look at this and go, well, how come there's so many indies? How come there's not as many AAA titles? And that, you know, there's a number of reasons for that. A lot of publishers have gone under. A lot of developers just, you know, that's why there's so many independent developers, because it doesn't take a whole lot of money to create games nowadays for them. Whereas if you want to make a AAA game, there's just bigger and bigger budgets for these machines, because, you know, the games can look so good nowadays. It becomes kind of an unsustainable business for a lot of publishers and developers. That's why you don't see nearly as many AAA games as you used to, but they're still here and they're still selling. Consoles are still selling, and all around, I like that. From the Sony side of things, it's like, okay, Microsoft's doing better now. Come on, Sony, do something. And hopefully they will, and it seems like they will be going into 2015, because now we've got a lot of great titles coming out, like The Order, Bloodborne, Uncharted, the, what, 50 or so independent games that are coming for PS4, and, like, I read something the other day that said that, like, 60 indie games were announced for PlayStation 4. Now, granted, again, don't be so pessimistic and bitchy about that. If you don't want those games, no one's forcing you to play them or buy them, but that's 60 games. That's like awesome, dude. Like, that is so damn cool. Hey everyone, Ryan here. Just want to go over another news story real quick. I actually left this one out while recording this episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. Sometimes I'll just get all my news stories together, record it, and then I'll start editing and realize, holy crap, I forgot this. And this is kind of a big one too, so I can't believe I left this out. Anyway, to The Last Guardian, the game's director, Fumito Ueda, discussed that the game is currently under new working conditions, completely new conditions, which kind of tells you, hey, that the game might possibly be moving over to PlayStation 4. And he was also asked in an interview, in celebration of PlayStation's 20th anniversary, what his favorite PlayStation moment was. And he actually responded with The Last Guardian, talking about the hardships and the unforeseen amount of time it took to actually work on this game. And of course it's still not out yet, but he is referring to The Last Guardian once again, and basically he's just referencing it over and over and over again, which means that, you know, this game's still very much in development. That's good news there, and it more than likely has moved over to PS4. But for a while now, I think we've all pretty much come into agreement that the game has moved over to PlayStation 4 at the very least, if it was also still going to release on PS3. But hopefully we'll see more of this game soon. We won't have to wait till E3 3600, because I really want to see this game at some point. Anyway, that's about it, and that's the end of this episode, so take it away, me. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. Little Big Planet 3 review is still coming. I just, like I said, guys, I work a lot, I'm sorry. It'll come when it comes at this point. I'm just busy. I work a lot, so that's the real world, I guess. Same with the Ryan on Gaming videos. Actually, I'm getting a lot of awesome topics, so the next few days I'm going to record a bunch of them. yeah, most of the ones that I'm going to be doing soon, like, were all submitted by you, so that's awesome. I got like 4 or 5 episodes, like, they're really good, record soon, and then, like, I got a whole bunch of others that I listed down, so that's good. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys all next Friday. Also, I got my second Grand Theft Auto 5 Platinum on PlayStation 4. Give it up. Give it up.